The introductions are real short because I'm sure you didn't come here to listen to introductions. But a close friend of mine and a tremendous resource to the community, to Western Michigan University, and to the field of applied behavior analysis is Dr. Wayne Fuqua. As chair of the psychology department of the best program in the world, he's fantastic to work with, and it's a pleasure to have him here, and I'll just turn it over to Wayne now.
And also, first of all, I'd like to say thanks especially to Lloyd for this wonderful recognition. Lloyd, I was kind of hoping for a car, maybe. Maybe some new golf club, Lloyd. Thank you. I'm very honored, by the way. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for joining us for this event. Scott made me write out a script so I wouldn't go off and tell jokes about things like I usually do when I give lectures, so I'll kind of talk a little bit from a script, okay? And what I'd like to do is I'd like to first of all start with a quote. Like Lloyd, I'm fond of quotes. And this is a quote from Hubert Humphrey. Now, people of my generation might recognize the name. For those that are a little younger than me, Hubert Humphrey is a two-time senator from the state of Minnesota and was the vice president under Lyndon Baines Johnson. I tried to find a more contemporary quote about autism, but Lady Gaga doesn't have very much out there right now. So, Hubert Humphrey says, "It was once said that the moral test of government is how government treats those who are in the dawn of life, the children, those who are in the twilight of life, the elderly, and those who are in the shadows of life, the sick, the needy, and the handicapped." I think that's a wonderful quote. To me, I believe that a very similar logic also applies to what might be called the moral fiber of individuals. I don't think we get a good reading of the moral fiber of a person by looking at how they treat others of similar or greater power than oneself. After all, such behavior is oftentimes motivated by hopes of reciprocity, or in some cases, fear of retribution. A better index of principled living is how we treat others who are less powerful than we are, including children, the elderly, and those with physical and mental disabilities, such as those on the autism spectrum, which just brings us here today to talk. With that in mind, I'd like to acknowledge a number of people acting on their principles by providing financial support, talent, hard work, and all the above. Through their efforts, they have turned a dream into the reality that we are celebrating today with the opening of this facility. First, I'd like to acknowledge the donors for their generous financial support for the Great Lakes Center for Autism. It's not yet available, but we will have a sculpture consisting of an autism puzzle sculpture with the names of the donors for the facility. That's going to be displayed in the facility. So please come back and see that. It's a very striking sculpture. In addition, I'd like to thank the ROI Board of Directors. If you're a member of the Board of Directors, would you please raise your hand? We have a number of people here. Thank you, a lot of folks are here. This is an amazing group. I happen to be president of this group, but in reality, I just kind of get out of the way and let them do their job, which is fantastic. I hope it is apparent to everyone that this program, this facility, represents a huge financial investment and risk for ROI. ROI is Residential Opportunities Incorporated, I hope you know. The board provided sage advice and unwavering support for this endeavor. Thank you to all the members of the Board of Directors. Fantastic work. Like Scott, I would also like to thank the members of the Capital Campaign Committee for their efforts to raise funds for this program, and especially for their perseverance during an unprecedented economic downturn in the United States. This was a tough time, and people stuck in there with us, and you see what we have today. It was a fantastic Capital Campaign Committee. As Scott mentioned, even today, fundraising is continuing in an effort to offset the construction costs as much as possible so that we can use those savings to reduce the cost of providing services to children, adolescents, and families in need. Don't be surprised if a member of the Capital Campaign Committee grabs you someplace during the day today and asks you for a donation, or for those who have been kind enough to donate already, they ask you for a supplemental donation. Please be generous. We would also like to acknowledge the leadership and political support of Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley. In sharing his family's challenges and triumphs with autism, he has provided a face for autism advocates in the state of Michigan. He was here at the groundbreaking ceremony of the Great Lakes Autism Center, and he is here today to help us formally open this facility. He was also instrumental in passing legislation that extends autism insurance coverage to evidence-based treatments for children on the autism spectrum. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Calley. It's a pleasure to have your support. I'd also like to very briefly acknowledge the support and hard work of ROI staff members, especially, as we mentioned, Becky Lopez, who I see way in the back, Tom Milling standing right beside her, Lori Peterson over here, and Ross Hamilton. Where's Ross? Talk to Ross if you would like to donate anything. He's fantastic. Okay, finally, let me single out a very special person for acknowledgement. Scott Schrum, the CEO of ROI. Every dream realized has a beginning, often a humble beginning, but dreams require leadership, inspiration, and perspiration to become reality. I recall driving back to Kalamazoo in May of 2008 after attending the Association for Behavior Analysis Conference in Chicago. I was chauffeuring Scott and one of my WMU faculty colleagues, Dick Malott. Between times when they were harassing me about my driving, going too fast, I have a tendency to do that, we were discussing the rise in autism diagnosis and the impressive range of autism treatment advances we had just seen presented at this particular conference. Shortly after that discussion, after attending that event in 2008, Scott produced a document showing the continuum of services that are needed for children and adolescents on the autism spectrum. He noted, quite astutely, that Southwest Michigan was missing several key service elements on the autism spectrum, including an intensive residential treatment program, and was underserved in other areas, including diagnostic services and, in particular, evidence-based treatments for autism. Although many people contributed to the development of this facility and the design of the evidence-based services that will be featured herein, it was really Scott's leadership and his recognition of the needs that has led to transforming this dream that we had into a reality that we're celebrating today. Thank you very much, Scott. Finally, let me put on my WMU hat for just a couple of minutes, okay? And say a few words about the collaboration with the WMU Psychology Department. As the chair of that department, my objectivity, of course, is somewhat suspect. People have claimed that more than my objectivity is suspect, but I won't go there with this right now. But I can report with great pride that WMU Psychology Department is nationally and internationally recognized as a center of excellence in behavior analysis, in particular applied behavior analysis. I'm fond of pointing out that most of the world's problems and challenges have behavioral solutions. One of the missions of the WMU Psychology Department and of the behavior analysis discipline in general is to help us develop and validate learning-based behavioral interventions in areas as diverse as clinical psychology, education, health, and business and industry settings. I say that with a nod to Alice Dickinson, who is here, and he's intimately involved in our industrial organizational psychology program. We have done much to improve the quality of life across a wide range of settings and across a wide range of behavioral, emotional, cognitive, and social challenges. Of special interest today, of course, is the role of applied behavior analysis in treating the behavioral symptoms of autism and improving the quality of life for those children on the autism spectrum and, importantly, for their parents and their siblings. Early, intensive, learning-based interventions have been widely recognized as the treatments of choice for children and adolescents on the autism spectrum. WMU faculty members with expertise in autism, such as Stephanie Peterson, who is here in the front, Dr. Jessica Frieder over here, Dr. Dick Malott, who is unable to join us today, along with their graduate students, have been involved in the design of evidence-based clinical services for the children and the families being served at the Great Lakes Center. They will continue to be involved as we roll out and deliver those services. As we open this facility, we also acknowledge we have 2 psychology alumni that are involved, Calvin Gage and Ken Bancroft. Thank you very much for your involvement. Very happy to have you here. In addition, we also have 3 of our doctoral students with board-certified behavior analysis credentials who have been hired in supervisory roles, and I believe Sean's in the back. Is there anybody else here, Sean? Others are off doing important things like going to class. And Jack Michael, of course, is here too. And Jack, you're welcome to do any supervision you like to do, okay? We can only pay you in wine though, Jack, okay? In addition, we have 8 of our psychology graduate students who are registered for supervised clinical practicum activity in the center. As a result of this collaboration, these graduate students will contribute to the quality and quantity of evidence-based treatments that are offered here at the center. And on top of that, they will receive valuable clinical training that will allow them to go out and pursue careers in the autism area. So we're very pleased to have that collaboration. Since the psychology department first awarded its first doctoral degree in 1977, we have awarded over 350 doctoral degrees and far more master's and bachelor's degrees. We're a very productive department. A sizable portion of the psychology department graduates have career aspirations in autism and developmental disabilities. With the recent passage of the autism insurance reform legislation in the state of Michigan, it will no longer be necessary for these graduates of Western Michigan University to leave the state of Michigan in order to find competitive employment. There will be reimbursement and compensation adequate to support these people, and in so doing, it will greatly improve the quality of services available here in the state of Michigan. So if you're in need of well-trained psychologists in the autism area, track me down, okay? I'll help you make some connections with some of our wonderful, wonderful students. Finally, let me call attention to the word research in the official title of this facility. In spite of advances, we do not fully understand the genetic, physiological, and environmental factors that are thought to cause autism. We need additional research on these underlying causes if we are to truly prevent, or in great big quotes, cure autism. We also recognize that the behavioral treatments that are widely acknowledged as best practices for treating autism could be more efficient and more reliable. And just so you fully understand, the behavioral treatments that are widely touted here, they're turning people's lives around, but they aren't curing the underlying neurological and physiological issues. They are simply allowing people to live productive, effective lives. And in many ways, the perfect analogy is in diabetes. We have lots of things out there to provide treatment for diabetic children and adults that let them live productive lives, but it doesn't cure the underlying problem. So we're having the same sort of approach right here, but it's still effective and allows people to live effective lives. So, with the concerns, those concerns and needs in mind for research, I would like to point out that it's an important part of our mission to provide a facility where ethically sound and methodologically sophisticated research can help us better understand the causes of autism and help us improve the efficiency and effectiveness of promising treatments. So, in synopsis, we are excited to be opening the doors of a facility that offers promise in so many different dimensions, to students in training, to well-trained professionals seeking employment in the autism area, to educators and other professionals who can benefit from consultation and expertise provided by this facility, to aspiring researchers, and most importantly, to the children and adolescents on the autism spectrum and to their families. I thank you for helping us celebrate this milestone, the opening of the Great Lakes Center for Autism Treatment and Research. Thank you so very much.